So I've been gone for a bit, but I thought, what better way to come back than making a very extra video, which is what this is, because I'm going to be doing a tier list of every single villain from the Nancy Drew games. Because what better thing do I do with my time than make lists of things that no one actually cares about? So, the categories of each of the parts of the tiers on this tier list that I made myself is oh so dramatic, I have a PhD in being better than you, this is so sad Alexa, play sad music, actually scary, and I'm sorry I just don't care. Okay, so the first person who I'm going to rank is Rentaro. And I'm very sorry, but I just don't care about Rentaro. The game he's in is great. Shadow at the Water's Edge is a great game. I just don't care about him. Maybe it's his personality, maybe it's just his motivations, I don't know, but I'm never like, ooh, I want to play Shadow at the Water's Edge because I want to get to the end. It's never that. I just don't like him. I just don't care. I'm sure a lot of people like him. I'm sure like a lot of people could back up why he's a good villain, but I just don't care enough to bother wasting my time doing that. I'm gonna waste my time doing other stupid things related to Nancy Drew games. Next, who can I do next? Here, we'll do Joseph, and he automatically goes into this is so sad, Alexa, play sad music, because he's just an old man who just really cares about the theater, and so he kidnaps someone, because what do you do when you're old and kind of losing your mind? You kidnap people, apparently. Renee definitely goes in I'm sorry, I just don't care, because I just don't care. The game is great, she's the only character in that game who I never want to talk to at all. But, like, you have to talk to her to finish the game. So, yeah, but I think I just don't find her interesting. I think with both of these people who I've put on that tier so far, I just don't find them interesting or compelling, I think. But they're like complex characters. I just don't look at them and go, yes, you're a bad person, but you're interesting. I'm just like, I just don't care. You're a bad person and you're kind of interesting, but I just don't care about the things that make you interesting. That's what I'm trying to say. They're interesting, but I'm not interested in the things that make them interesting. For a very obvious one, we can put Abdullah in I have a PhD in being better than you, because he literally has a PhD in being better than you. Of all these characters, he's one of the only ones who has a PhD and is better than you. Revenant is actually scary, and there's nothing else to say about that. Revenant's just actually scary. Clara definitely goes into this is so sad, Alexa play sad music, because she basically accidentally killed her cousin and has to live with that grief, and everyone in the Thornton family is just sad, so I can't see a reason to put her anywhere else, because she's not scary. I do definitely care. She doesn't have a PhD in being better than me, and she's actually not that dramatic. For someone who could be very dramatic, she's not that dramatic. Next would be Jane Panvillin, and she would go into this is so sad, Alexa play sad music, because she's a kid, so yeah, that's sad. But it's just sad how she is just kind of thrown into this new situation and is like kind of mourning the loss of things that she used to have, and then everything's just weird around her. It's like, oh, not only are you mourning the loss of your mom and your dad because they divorced, but now not only do you have a new mom, but you're also in this weird, creepy manner, and it's just not normal. It's not a normal. So definitely sad, and she's also very lonely because she keeps asking Nancy to play games, and then her mom won't talk to her, and it's just not great, and it's very sad, and I kind of want them to have more kids as villains, but I also don't, because that's sad. Niobe goes into this is so sad, Alexa plays sad music, because she didn't want this, she didn't want any of this, but she got it anyway, so It's sad in my book. Where do I put Grigor? Because I could put him in This Is So Sad, Alexa Play Sad Music, but I could also put him in Oh So Dramatic. I think I'll put him in Oh So Dramatic. Up there? Is he up there? Yes. I think it's obvious why Grigor the thespian is in Oh So Dramatic. But honestly, it's because since he's a villain, he has to go somewhere. So he does not have a PhD in being better than you at all. He's sad, but and he's not actually scary, and I do care about him a lot. So by process of elimination, he goes into Oh So Dramatic, which I think is fitting enough. Who else? Who else can we put in these tiers? Who else could go here? I feel like a horrible person, but Shorty goes into I'm sorry, I just don't care. And it's legit because I just don't care about any of the characters in Shadow Ranch. Shadow Ranch is a great game, but I just hate cowboys for some reason. Therefore, every single character except for Mary in that game, just, I don't care about. So, unfortunately, Shorty, I just don't care. I'm sorry, I just don't care. Mitch Dillon goes into I just don't care because that game did not do a good job of that villain, and that's all I'm gonna say. Emily also goes in this tier because I legit don't care about her. That game is only fun when it's the very specific parts about Mickey Malone, and everything else is boring. It's like, oh, there's cute dogs, and there's speakeasy. That's literally the only interesting parts of that game. Most of the rest of the game is not worth my time. So, Emily's not worth my time. She's also annoying, but that's just me personally thinking she's annoying. Eda Brooks goes into Oh So Dramatic because she needs to calm down. I'm pretty sure every single time you show up and talk to her, or she talks to you because it's a dossier game, every time she talks to you, something very overly dramatic is done by her. Especially at the very end when you have to escape the falling rubble of the underground cave you're in. Like, you can't say she's not dramatic when that's how the, like, villain ending happens. And I also put Arthur Hitchens in from that game because he's kind of a villain, because I'm pretty sure he's the reason why there was accidents happening. So he's gonna go into Oh So Dramatic because, again, process of elimination, but also he's dramatic because he's like, let's have accidents and then people will want to come to our theme park and our movie will be great. It's not how any of that works, but yeah, so I'm counting him as a villain, and if I'm very wrong about him doing any of the things I just said he did, then I'm sorry. But he's still dramatic either way. Creature of Kabu Cave. I'm gonna have to say that Mike Mapu, Big Island Mike, I just don't care about him because he seems to have, like, no motive until, like, the very end. And then Pua, I'm gonna put in This Is So Sad, Alexa Play Sad Music because she's kind of, like, going along with a plan, and it's, like, kind of, like, I'm pretty sure at the end she's, like, hesitant. She's like, wow, we really shouldn't have done that. So, that's not what Pua sounds like, but I'm pretty sure that she's like, and she's also, her mom's dead, her mom's dead, and she's kind of just, like, coping with it by not coping with it by just being like, I'm going to surf on the waves. So I think she's sad, and then Mike, I just don't care about Mike Mapu at all. Especially since you can only talk to all these characters as the Hardy Boys, and the Hardy Boys aren't that great in this game, so who else has a PhD in being better than me? Because there has to be somebody. Okay, actually, no. Obviously, it's Scott Varnell, because I'm pretty sure he does have a PhD in being better than me, except he's not actually better than me. But he still has a PhD, so this is the category he's going in. Victor Lawset also has a PhD in being better than me, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't actually have a PhD. I mean, he could, but I don't think they ever tell us what he got degrees in. And I'm sure he has a master's degree, but I don't think he has a PhD, and if he does, I don't know what in the world it would be on. Probably business or something like that. But he's not actually better than me, and he doesn't act like he's better. No, he does, never mind. He's not better than me. And so, yeah, but he acts like he's better than me. And he acts like, he acts like he has a PhD in being better than me. Because he's around all these scientists who actually have, like, PhDs and are super smart, and then he's just like, I murdered somebody. Give me money. And that's not very smart. But he acts like he's smart and is better than me. So this is where he's going. Kiri's gonna go, and I'm sorry, I just don't care, because she's the worst part of that game. She's just boring. And I really wish that someone like Lena had been the culprit, because Lena's so cool, but Kiri's just kind of like there, and then sometimes not there, and then it's the end of the game. Like, I never remember exactly what she does or says at the end of the game, but I remember like all these other details about the game, but she's like the most forgettable part of the game. So I honestly would like to care more, but I just can't, because I literally can't remember, like, anything about her most of the time. My boy. Soren is so sad. Play sad music. I just finished playing Sea of Darkness with Jade, and oof. I've always loved Soren, and I was worried I would replay the game and be like, no, I hate him now. He sucks, but he does not actually, I mean, he sucks because he's the culprit. But it's so sad that the whole town just hates him and just treats him poorly, and that led him to do this thing, because he just, he has a great sweater, and so honestly, that's why I care about him so much. It's not his shining personality or anything. I would say Ewan also should go, yeah, Ewan is gonna go into so sad, because he's just a pawn for Revenant. He's not, like, the mastermind. He's just doing what they're telling him to do, and Revenant's horrible. So, and he's doing it, he just wants, like, his power fantasy. Like, that's what he says in the end of the game, that he's just doing it because he can, and, like, that's just really sad, and that hurts, and, he's not a great villain, but that's because he's not the villain of his game. He's just, like, the stand-in, and then there's the shadow villain who's the real villain, which is terrifying and horrible. And honestly, as much as I want them to come back again at some point, I really, really don't, because they're actually genuinely the worst people in the Nancy Drew universe. So I don't want them to come back, because that means they're gonna do terrible things. But I want them to come back because of plot reasons, because that would be fun. But I don't want them to come back because then people will get hurt. So, which we want to pick? I don't know. Joanna goes into I'm sorry, I just don't care, because I just don't care. I never pick her when I play that game. Actually, I think, yeah, most of the people I'm gonna put into I just don't care, because I just don't care. Okay, she goes into Oh So Dramatic. No, Does she go into Oh So Dramatic, or does she go into I have a PhD in being better than you? Because she does have a PhD in being better than me, but she's also dramatic. I think there's enough dramatic characters in here that I think I'm gonna put her in I have a PhD in being better than you. Because there's less and less people who have a PhD in being better than you than there are dramatic people. Because literally all of these people could go in that category if I tried hard enough. Because Nancy Drew villains are nothing if not overly dramatic. Like, 98% of the time, the villain is so painfully dramatic. Jasmine Ivy, I also just don't care. I never pick her, which is unfortunate for her, but I just don't care. Those are 3 of the characters I just don't care about. I normally pick these 2, but I don't know where to put them. Because Cassidy is... Yeah, I have not played that game recently enough for me to remember what is the difference with everyone's, like, villain speeches. So what their motives are. Oh no, he would go into Oh So Dramatic, because I'm pretty sure his motivation is just like, I want to destroy them anyway. So I think he would go in Oh So Dramatic. And then Nick Bleskie. Where to put him? Because I don't think he has a PhD in being... No, actually, the way he talks to you the first time you meet him, he clearly thinks he's better than everybody. And he does not have time for Nancy. And he has a PhD in being better than me. But not in a cool way, just in an annoying way. So, this is where I'm putting him. Alicia Cole. She's so dramatic. Oh my goodness. She needs to stop. Someone needs to stop her. Like, that villain speech was literally the longest villain speech I think I've ever seen in a game. Definitely in a Nancy Drew game, but like, she talked for so long. And she did not help herself every time she started a new sentence. She was making it worse for herself, so... She's way too dramatic. Like, someone help her, please. Because... Wow. Thanos. He's actually scary. Because he's the only murderer in the Nancy Drew games where you know that they're a murderer. And it's not a murder mystery. Because the other games where there's murderers in them are murder mysteries. And you don't know that the person who you're talking to is a murderer until the end of the game. But with Thanos, it's like, here's Thanos, he's killed people. Anyway, enjoy your stay in the underworld. And I'm like, I don't know, thank you. Also, every time he talks to you, you're like, will I make it up the lift, or will I just die on my way up there? Because Thanos is terrifying. And the fear I have related to Thanos is what will kill me in the end. Laurie Gerard goes in Oh So Dramatic, because literally her entire plan is oh so dramatic. Except for the very end. Except for the simple, Nancy, go into cave. Nancy, find bone and letter. Bye, Nancy. But then she kicks over the boulders, and that's very dramatic. But her whole, I'm gonna disappear, and wow, all these celebrities on a train, is very dramatic. So... And the whole game is just dramatic characters. So, if the villain of that game was not dramatic, I would be shocked. So, she definitely deserves to be on this tier. Jane Willoughby is gonna have to go into I'm Sorry, I Just Don't Care. Because they could have made her a lot cooler, but they didn't. And so... And also... Sorry, I had to burp. I had to burp again. Oh, I'm so sorry. But also... 2 games in a row, they have the same name for the villain. And that's just lazy. So, she's going in I'm Sorry, I Just Don't Care. Because I don't even think her interactive cared enough to give her a different name. Yanni Vokstaya. Well, he is kind of dramatic. He's also kind of like a secret I have a PhD in being better than you kind of character. I don't know where to put him. Because I think he's dramatic, but like, I feel like other characters are way more dramatic than he is. And honestly, the things that he does that are dramatic aren't dramatic. I don't know how to explain this. And there he goes. No, he does have a PhD. That's literally his whole character, is being better than everyone else. So he would have a PhD in being better than you. It just has to do with cross-country skiing. So yeah, he definitely goes there. I don't know where to put Andy Jason, because he's not actually scary, especially when the other two people in that category are Thanos and Revenant. But he's also not sad. He's kind of dramatic, and he doesn't have a PhD in being better than you because he acts like he's your friend. And I care, I guess. Is he oh so dramatic? I mean, that boat is very dramatic. So, I think he'd go in oh so dramatic. But it's a very hesitant, I don't want to put him in the bottom category. But he also doesn't truly deserve to be up here with the greats. So, I don't know. I think I'm gonna leave him there. Because if I don't, I'm gonna have like 20 people who are not sorted. Because they're not perfect for their category. Because I didn't make good categories, apparently, and I'm finding that out a little too late. So, I'm gonna put Antonio Fongo into I'm Sorry, I Just Don't Care, because we really don't learn anything about him. He really only exists so we can go into his office. And, like, he does stuff within the crime ring, but, like, there's other characters. Like, Enrico Tazza is much cooler, but I don't know where to put him, because he's not scary, like, at all. And he's not sad. And maybe he has a PhD in being better than you, but I don't think so. I would say, actually, no, he's dramatic, because he says he wears the same exact costume for Carnivale every single year, and he wears that mask and that costume, and he makes you play Scopa, and he makes you dress up in a cat suit to steal a sapphire. So, I would say he's pretty dramatic. Helena. Well, she's dramatic in the fact that she made a whole crime ring. Her actual personality is not very dramatic. I do care. I think she's a secret I have a PhD in being better than you character, because she thinks she's smart enough to have this crime ring and get away with it, so I'm guessing that's where I should put her. Brenda Carlton, definitely, no, she's also dramatic. She does have a PhD in being better than me, because her whole personality is, I'm cool, you suck, anyway. So, I'm gonna say she goes in this category. Lily's not really the villain of her game, but she still is, like, kind of in cahoots. She works for the villain of the game, so I'm gonna put her in This Is So Sad, because it's kind of, I'm pretty sure, a situation where she just got in over her head. She didn't come to this dig site intending to be a bad person, but she's being a bad person. So, that's kind of sad. Also, it's probably because Abdullah is kind of scary. He's not necessarily scary at the beginning, but he's definitely scary at the end. Actually, no, he knocks someone out at the beginning of the game. So yeah, no, he's scary. I take that back. He still, though, has a PhD in being better than me, but he's also kind of scary. Anya's gonna go in Oh So Dramatic, because she's literally just dressing up as a monster of myth and legend to get back at her ex-boyfriend, and that's just petty and dramatic, but great. So, she's going in that tier. Detective Beach. I'm gonna say he's actually scary, because he's one of the few, if not the only character to point a gun at Nancy. I'm pretty sure he's the only character to point a gun at Nancy. So, yeah, that's terrifying. They had to change the ESRB rating for the game to E10, I'm pretty sure, because of the fact that he's pointing a gun at you. So, and also the fact that you're working with him the whole time, and then he's like, surprise! I don't think, no, he's not the killer, because Mitch Dillon did the deed, but he's still the reason why Jake was murdered. And also, he's just gross and, it's so uncomfortable. But I like playing that game, but also never, ever talking to him, ever. No, it's not gonna happen. I'm pretty sure you can play almost all of the game, though, without talking to, like, any of the characters ever. Not like there's a lot of dialogue options to talk about, but, like, I'm pretty sure you can basically ignore everybody, for the most part, and get through the game in, like, less than an hour, or maybe an hour and a bit. I'm not sure. I should try and play the game as fast as I possibly can, like with a walkthrough, and just run through it as fast as possible and time myself and see how fast I do it. Because I'm pretty sure that's the I'm not pretty sure, I'm positive that's the fastest game, but I don't know how fast it actually is. Dwayne Powers. Where else would you end up? Oh, and also Dwayne Powers again. Where else would you end up? He is the most dramatic character in all of Nancy Drew games. And he needs to calm down, because if he ever... he needs to calm down, because he's been over the top and dramatic ×2, which is more than anybody else can ever be. So he needs to cool it. Is anybody here someone I don't care about? Yeah, unless he's oh so dramatic, or he doesn't have a PhD in being better than me, and he's not sad, and he's not scary. Would he be oh so dramatic, though? I don't think so, because he's only dramatic at, like, the very end of the game. And the rest of the game, he's just like, hi, Nancy, I should be doing other things. Bye, Nancy. So, I just don't care. Because, again, I just don't like his personality. Same thing with Rentro. It's like, it's nothing wrong with him. I just don't care. And I don't want to talk to you. So you're not, like, a cool villain. Where I'm like, ooh. But I liked the experience of playing the game. So, unfortunately, this is where he goes. Everyone else is pretty dramatic, but also, no, they're all pretty dramatic. Do any of them have a PhD in being better than me? Because otherwise, they're all gonna go into oh so dramatic, which I don't know if they deserve. Well, I'm gonna put Nico Petit in oh so dramatic, because he's literally oh so dramatic, because he's wearing that mask even though Helena does not want him to be wearing that mask and that cape. So I would say that's pretty dramatic. Also, he's cool and I wish we had more of him in his game, but it's fine. I can write an AE about it, and I can make him a starring character, and then I can learn all about him, but it's stuff I'm making up, so it's not canon, but shh, doesn't matter. She is going here, Xenia. She's dramatic. If you change costumes just so you can have your villain reveal, then you're really dramatic. Also, that speech was the most dramatic and thespian-esque thing she could have done, so yeah, she's going in oh so dramatic. In the end, Karine has a PhD in being better than you, because she pretends to be your friend and be friendly, but in the end she's like, I'm smart. Wow, I've been researching things. Anyway, goodbye, Nancy. You're gonna die down here, Edgar Allan Poe style. Ha 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 ha. So, I feel like she has that potential energy to, when she's older, have a PhD in being better than you. Even if she's kind of better at hiding it right now, in the end, she might end up becoming someone who's like that. 4 more people. I have 4 more people. Oh no. Because there's 2 academics, and then there's 2 other people. That's so mean. Lisa, her spicy devil villain venom is kind of dramatic. Only slightly dramatic. So I think she has to go there. Even though she's kind of chill throughout the game. Again, in the end, if the characters chill through the game but they're dramatic at the end and they're not in any of the other categories, then they kind of just have to go there. Which also then means Minette is going up here. Because you have to block her to death, basically. And that's how you win. And that's ridiculous. So, men with ties. I have to sort 2 men with ties and then I'm done. But I don't want to put them in any of these categories. I do care about them, they're not scary, and they're not sad. But do they have a PhD in being better than me, or are they oh so dramatic? No, Taylor Sinclair does go in oh so dramatic. If you have a nickname like Big Bunny Sinclair, you kind of automatically have to go into the oh so dramatic category. Even if you didn't give yourself that nickname, that's where you're going. So. And then, he's too much of an academic not to go here. Maybe I would put Lewis Chandler in oh so dramatic, but honestly, he's just kind of like the same throughout the whole game. He's not really like, and then I did this dramatic thing. So, I would say since he's an academic, he just automatically goes into a PhD in being better than me. But he doesn't have a PhD, and he's kind of not better than me, he's just kind of there, but like, he's a fake academic with a tie, so where else are we gonna put him? And there you have it, that's all of the Nancy Drew culprits sorted into a tier list that I made. If you want to do this tier list on your own, I will put the link in the description for this tier list, and I would love if you would share with me all of the things that you did differently for me and tell me how wrong I am in the comments. So I will see you next week with a totally different video.